All right. There we go. And hopefully Anthony will be able to come and join the fun. So I've got so many documents open tonight, it's crazy. Okay. So the first thing is I am going to share this document. I'll just share the whole screen. How about that? Make it easy on us. Now I can't see you guys, so help me stay honest if somebody raises their hand or something. So help keep me honest. So thing I thought we would do is go over our actions from last time. And I didn't get a text or anything from Dorothy. I'm a little surprised. She'll probably be here. So Dorothy and I obviously did the data crunch and did the deck and presented everything last night to the commission. That was Monday and Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. So the next thing I had was going through the county to outreach to Indigenous communities. Do we have an update on that one? Chris, you got an update? I think that was both of you. Wait a minute. That's so weird because it didn't do that last time. Let me unmute all. Okay. Let me know again if that doesn't work. Okay, so update on Indigenous people and minority communities.
Okay, sorry, I was muted again.
Everybody was when they get in here.
I heard Deanna speaking, so
I unmuted her. I'm not playing favorites. Anyway, go ahead. What's your update?
Okay, I had reached out to Mira Lee because that's who, when I was talking to people that have been involved with the tribes, and maybe some. So I'll follow up because I haven't heard back from her. She's going to be out until Wednesday, and apparently, there's a procedure for the county to working with tribes because it's nation to nation thing, and so the county has a procedure about it. So I need to talk to the county about that. So I'm waiting to hear back from her.
Do you know if there's any, when you talk to her, would you please get it in writing? So there's a procedure for communications with the tribes. And you and Marilee are.
Yes, I did ask for it in writing. I asked her to provide that for me.
To share with everybody else. Okay, and I don't know how the reach out to the minority communities for the Spanish speaking survey went because we only got 3. But moving on, that's in the rearview mirror. The next one
I do want to know, can I say something a little bit about that? I do want to note that there are many people that we reached out within the Spanish community that do speak English as well, and so I know that they answered the survey before the Spanish survey came out. So
excellent. Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. All right. So okay, perfect. And again, we'll live and learn on that survey and know how to go forward. Okay. I just heard somebody pop on. Oh, it's Dorothy. Okay, good. Let me say unmute all again. I don't know why.
Hey, can we add to the agenda about talking, if we have time at the end, about communications within the team, about talking about that, like, and how to improve that?
I feel like we're beating a dead horse with that. Let's continue on with the agenda and then we'll see if we got time. Create the template for the charter updates to send to contacts. That was the next one. Yep. Do we have a status on that one?
I'm sorry, I can't read the.
Can't let me,
What's the question again?
it's the next thing on the agenda. I'm trying to blow it up a little bit.
Oh, thank you.
Um, the template for charter updates to send to contacts. Remember when you were talking last week about the scoop or whatever, you want to call it, to have a regular update email that commissioners can send out to keep people updated. So you guys were going to do a template and a rough draft of that, and then have some kind of cadence along with social media posts and stuff. But that would be an email that you would send to, from what we were talked about last time, all commissioners, so they could personally send it out to their groups.
Right, and I still plan on doing that. I had a family death last week, so I had to go pick up my granddaughter and bring my granddaughter from San Francisco. So last week I was
Sorry to hear
Sorry
that.
about that, Terry, by the
I'm
way.
sorry to hear that.
yeah, and um so I was quite busy last week, and then this week because the whole I'm with the drafting committee and on these subcommittees this week I'm kind of busy trying to get things ready for the drafting committee on Friday. So these 2 weeks, but I am working on it. I have like something really basic put together, but I don't think that that's like an emergency to happen right now. I think these other things that we're working on as far as getting out amendments and those kind of things are kind of a high priority for me right now. And I was going to send loop Deanna and Chris into what I was working on to see if they wanted to add to that. And then maybe if you guys want to discuss it, do you want it to make it like just a regular newsletter, a weekly newsletter, like a brief newsletter? Is that the template that we wanted to go with?
I'm agnostic. Up to you guys.
I don't think it needs to be a regular like on the calendar thing. It's like the some of the Facebook posts when there's news to share it.
Right.
I think especially after looking at this email from Chuck, we're overthinking
huge.
some of the elements of what we need to do for communications and how to do it well. And I think that might be gum us up more than be helpful for the community that we're trying to serve. So aiming for one every week or two, I think would be a good plan.
Okay.
But like, there's going to be points where it's just no real news, and no one wants extra stuff in their email inbox that's not.
Well, see, I was kind of disappointed that I wasn't able to get to it this week because, of course, on Wednesday we had a meeting in which we invited our electeds and stuff, and I think that had our commissioners reached out to them, going, "Hey, the electeds are invited to comment." So this would be I think this would be a good meeting for you to attend and provide public comment as well. So I felt kind of bad that I wasn't able to get to that because this was definitely a week that we could have pushed that out. Yeah.
Didn't I thought the E-team sent, yeah, they did. They sent out an email to every elected, right? Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
To invite them. Okay,
No, I
so
wasn't talking about to electeds. I was talking about sending it out to commissioners to go reach out to your
Oh.
constituents, and this would be a good meeting for your constituents to come to and hear about what's happening and hear from their electeds as well. So I thought that I apologize about that. I couldn't get that because I thought this would be a great week to do that kind of thing. But I agree with you, Chris, that we should do it on just on the times that we have something like big, definitely have something out there like, oh, we are presenting our final proposals. Can you reach out to your constituents and ask them to attend this meeting and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and smaller updates. Those are good fodder for the Facebook page.
Right.
And that's good stuff for posts.
okay.
I think you put Deanna and Chris to work on this. I think it was.
But it's under you. So see,
Okay.
you're the main owner. And then
Okay.
I'm gonna put
This
this one.
give everybody homework.
I'm sorry, you chopped up there.
I know. I don't know what's wrong with my connection lately. Yeah.
But so I didn't hear what you said though.
Oh, okay. No, I just didn't want to, I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't just saying, okay, Deanna and Chris work on this and I'm not going to tell, so that's fine.
Okay. All right. And so the other thing was a draft for commissioners to send to family and friends.
Which is kind of very similar. I mean, it should be, you know what I mean? Like, if you're reaching out to, if you're reaching out to commissioners and go send this out to your contacts and stuff, that would be, and I can put together like, just like the draft that you put together that you sent out to some of our contacts. So I think that those two things are kind of tied together. The template
Okay.
for
So
charter updates to contacts and template a draft for commissioners to send to family and friends.
is it the same thing or are they different?
I think they're about the same. I mean, because if you're going to charter updates that you want them to send, that's going to be kind of included in the draft, These are the updates that we would like you to send, so it'll be included in the draft.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting too. Does anybody else, I'm going to keep hitting unmute. Does anybody else have any input on that one? Create a template of charter updates commissioners can send to family and friends. And I'm just going to say, and contacts. Okay. Um, who's going to manage that? That's not a one-time thing, that's updates, right? So who's going to manage it and how often do you want to have the cadence?
I think that we just kind of like, when the point that Chris makes, it would be made earlier, it would be when we have important updates and those kind of things. So being the part of the strategy, team that works on that, I would think that would be me, Chris, and Deanna.
Yeah, and on this one too, this is another place where we don't need to overthink and overdo it. Having a bullet point list of points to share, I think would be plenty for folks to go and share as they would speak with their own family and communities, or as they would email as well. We don't need to micromanage everybody's communications that they do as individuals, just make our recommendations. So I don't want anybody to be wasting a lot of time and effort. I know a lot of us are working and also doing all these subcommittees and the drafting and whatnot. But a list of points for each of these would be plenty sufficient for folks. And then they could share it out just to their group as is, or they could package it with some more chit chat as well, if they wanted to. Is my thought on that.
So let me just make sure I understand. Is this an email? I get that we're sending an email draft and I get it'll be updates, but is this from Commissioner Maureen Winningham, or is this from Maureen, your next door neighbor?
I'm not entirely sure where this quite came from, but
This is my idea, so you want me to?
This is what? Sorry.
Oh, this is my idea. You want me to explain it?
Okay.
It came from a meeting where we were talking about, and then actually a couple of meetings where we were talking about we need to reach out to commissioners about the survey, right? And those kind of things. And so Maureen put together a nice letter. I put a nice letter that I sent out to people. And so we were going, oh, and then I also shared a Facebook post and an email with commissioners, and I got responses from commissioners going, oh, great. Thank you for that. Thanks for doing that. And it was just highlighting the survey and things that we were doing. So we talked about last time about having that kind of ongoing, because to continue to do that. So to answer your question, I'm not quite sure, Maureen, your question again is this. So this would be something that you could probably, like, I took this, basic same email that I sent out to some of the group organizations that I'm a member at, and I took the same thing and I just kind of changed it and personalized it for when I send it out to my family and friends as well, going, oh, there's a survey here, please take the survey. And so so distinguishing between whether it's not a to family and friends or to organizations that you might be a member of, or those kind of things, I think that's up to commissioners to personalize it with that too. And so that answer your question about that?
No,
No. Oh,
because what I'm curious about is, do we need to follow those guidelines for if it's private and I'm sending it to my friends, then I'm sending it as Maureen, your friend. But if I'm sending it as Commissioner Winningham, then I have different rules I got to follow.
I never sign anything, Commissioner. I always sign it Terry Niles when I'm sending anything out, and I have been sending out. And it's never in a context of I am representing the commission. It's just like, hey, you know, the charter review has a survey, exactly, kind of the Stepper, you represented yourself as when you sent it out as the co-chair of the communications team. I never did.
I only did that because it was Saturday and you were
Yeah.
going to do it that week, but it didn't get done and I was kind of under the gun. And I knew that the Spanish survey needed to go out ASAP. So
Right.
I didn't plan on doing that. I just really quickly wrote it, but I wrote it because it was a commission thing. So I did send it from my county email address to those groups that were on Dorothy's list.
Oh, see, I've never done that.
probably the
I've
big
sent them
distinction.
from my personal email with my personal name on them. And
Okay.
I don't even identify myself as a commissioner.
That's
Okay.
probably the most meaningful distinction between whether something is personal or not. I mean, if it comes from our official email address, it's definitely as a commissioner. If it's from our personal, we can say whatever we want as a personal person, and it's fine.
Yeah.
So I guess coming back to kind of the point of this thing is what are we hoping to achieve by creating some kind of template here?
I'm hoping to spur commissioners to get people involved, because I don't know if they're actually doing that. And I think that's what I brought up last time, is to spur them to reach out to their community and get people involved, because it's not going to happen and I think that even studies have shown that anything personal that comes from somebody personally is much more effective and much more. So that's the only thing that I'm doing, but that's what I thought was my job, is to try to increase outreach, right? So
okay. So I'm just thinking stuff through here. Would writing an email template for people be more useful or as useful as just prompting them to occasionally, hey, communication subcommittee says, we did this thing this week, share about it to your communities.
which is exactly what that is.
Okay.
Exactly
So
what that's exactly what we're proposing.
Script is the distinction.
Oh no.
And one's a lot more work.
Yeah.
That I'm not necessarily sure people would use. Is why I'm.
If you don't want a script, then I won't do a script.
I think if you do a template, people are more likely to do the action. So, but I thought it was more like geared towards like social media posts and stuff like that. And that would be easier if you're already making a post for the Facebook page. You're basically just taking that same content and sending it to the commissioners and saying, hey, make sure you share this out to your people.
And
if you
exactly.
hand me something I can copy and paste, I'm far more likely to go ahead and copy and paste it and send it out than I am if you're like, hey, do this thing and write up a social media post, and I'm gonna be like, nah.
I'm the same way.
Well,
I'm
that was
lazy.
exactly the intent, Dorothy. So you would be able to like copy and paste the
Mhm.
email, and it has links. It has links to the county site, everything in it. And whether you put it on your Facebook page or you put it into an email, the links are there. The links are correct.
Mhm.
And commissioners wouldn't have to look that up. It's
Yeah.
really not that hard, and I don't think it's that time consuming. But I don't know.
How about we
Yes,
say
I
this?
think that would be really good. I think that would be really useful, particularly with all the links already in there. We'll make it much, much better.
Yeah, sounds good.
Why don't you create a draft of one? Because here's what I don't want to have happen. What I don't want to have happen is this becomes like a biweekly chore and nobody ends up using it. And I don't want to have anybody wasting their energy. So why don't you create a template of one and then you can present it at the next commission meeting and say, hey guys, or we can email it out to them and go, hey guys, would you use this or not? This is one of the things that we're thinking about doing.
Okay, that sounds good.
Well,
I'll do that.
yeah. Okay,
let me get through Friday. Friday
Yep.
with the drafting committee meeting.
you got a lot going on. So when do you want to commit to getting these things done here?
I will try to have it by Monday. So the next commissioner meeting, oh, we are
That's right.
appointing a new commissioner.
Right.
So
But
I'll
we
make
could
a
email
draft.
it.
Yeah, I'll make a draft about that with the links to that and see if people think that, and if people want to send that out.
Okay, I'll clean that up later. Draft by Monday. Okay. The last thing I had on our actions was the information coordination and the talking points. So I wanted to bring you up to speed on the talking points. It goes down to here too, you guys, because the E-teams asked us to pause on this, the FAQs and the talking points. Now I know Deanna went ahead and reviewed them, and the Facebook guidelines. Deanna went ahead and reviewed them. Chuck has them too, and we were requested to have that review. However, the FAQs are not done. And so we don't want to post anything that's got the gaps in it. And Chuck and the rest of the E-team has requested that we pause on that for now because we need to have a formalized process in place. And so that kind of ties into the next item, which I was hoping Anthony would be here to chat about. But so here's the skinny. We've got an intake form that is live now on our website. Let's see if I can pull that up for you. Here it is. You see that? Everybody see it? Okay. So this is to invite a commissioner to speak at your organization. It is right under the charter. And so I'll take you to this. So you go right here. And then it's right here on the main charter page. So it's just to basically ask people in the community, who do you want? You want somebody to come talk to you. And so anyway, the way that we set this up originally was to have this go to Dorothy's and my email. So we can kind of keep track of all the speaking engagements. I know we're going to have to come up with a better way, but we're not going to be able to use a Google Doc for that one. But we'll have to come up with some kind of way to list it because we'll put them all in the events page. But the reason I say all of this is because the E-team would like to approve everybody who speaks. And so they want to go through a process to make sure that not just people know what they're supposed to say, know what the legal guidelines are, and always partner with somebody else, but go through a little bit of rigor to make sure that they feel well versed in all the things that could be asked and set them up for success. So that is why we have been asked to pause on that for right now.
Oh, okay. I have a question while Deanna's here before she leaves. So the pause on the FAQs, so we had never planned on putting them out, right? That's why you said it's just drafts and we're working on them. Do they just want us not even to work on FAQs anymore? Since you were the one that talked to Chuck and since you're part of the team, like,
do you want me to chime?
me and Chris
chime in on that? So,
okay.
Sorry, yeah, my understanding was, so when I actually got in there to start working on it, I didn't realize that some of the committees did not have their like FAQ. I didn't know the committees were all submitting their FAQs related to their topics. So when I got in there to kind of do another look at it, some of the sections are really heavy on information and others aren't. And so when I went back to Maureen and said, am I supposed to be writing these sections? No, what's happened is the committees just need to get their completed like FAQ points. And then our job is to like kind of finesse them, I think. And so like the ethics committee and the DEI committee got really nice substantive.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, no, I mean, those were really,
yeah, because we are on the
comprehensive, very complete summaries of what the issues are, as compared to some of the other ones were very brief, not comprehensive. So I think at this point, until, the committee's obviously drafting the ballot language and that stuff takes precedent over the FAQ. So I think what Chuck is thinking, and I have not talked to him directly, is considering there's a deadline for one and not the other, obviously, I think he just wanted any drafting focus to be on, amendment language. And then as needed and as we need to for the rest of the year, get these FAQs done. And then kind of following into that, the talking points was kind of started as like a template with just some general, like who, what, where, why, when. I think once the FAQs are done, what my thought is, what I was going to do is I was going to take the FAQs and translate those into talking points because those are internal only. I was going to try and just translate FAQ into like commissioner lingo that's only internal. I mean, of course, it's public records. There's not going to be anything inappropriate in there, but it's going to be more like, if you get asked this question, here's a response. I mean, it's really, that's what it's going to be. So.
Okay.
That sounds like a great plan.
Okay, I just want.
I love that.
Chris, yep.
On the point with the FAQ, I do think it would be best for everybody and most useful for the community to get that posted as soon as possible. I don't think that they need to be equal levels of depth. And I think one thing that's being missed in talking about this is that this is not something we're going to publish and print and send. This is information on the website that could be updated several times a week with more information. And so if the information we have is good, then I think we should have that put up. And I think that we can do that. We've been working with the county staff. They know what the expectation is. And also that answers one of Chuck's questions from that email is about what it looks like. It's all going to be in that format of the website too. So we can also add an acknowledgement like we can say right at the top of the page, this is the work in progress. As we learn more or get more information, we can post it. So I would urge or request to, I guess it was the executive team who wanted to put a hold on it, that instead of putting a hold on it, we put it up, acknowledge its current status and that it's a living, growing thing, and say check back and add more as we get it. Since we have all this already, I don't think we need to withhold that from the public.
Okay, can I add that the three things, and actually I worked on all three of these FAQs, was the districting, the districts, the ethics, and the DEI. Those are the ones that I think is probably the most important and with the most questions, right? The other, the clarity and those are not as much. So I agree with Chris that I think we need to get those going. And then if we're working on this as a team, like the three, part of our strategy team, Deanna, Chris, and me, we can work on that together. So any kind of like things that happen, and pauses and conversations about whether there are pauses or any of those kind of things, because that's what we're working on. And so I was actually going through the comments and pulling FAQs from that, and then when I saw the pause, it's like, oh, well, I thought that would be a good idea to kind of pull from those comments, FAQs, and I saw that Kelsey Potter was doing that as well. So, so that.
Go ahead,
that's
Chris.
just a comment. You're muted.
Maybe it's better that way. Whether or not it's posted now or later, we can still be working on it, surely. And I just wanted to touch back on another one of the asks from earlier, and from Chuck's email too, is about a process for that. Since I've been kind of centering this a little bit, working with Terry and with Deanna, do you want me to just get a process set up to bring back to Chuck so that we can get it rolling pretty quickly here and kind of answer those relevant questions from his email? Is that okay?
Can I make a suggestion, Chris? Is that me, you, and Deanna talk about that, since that's what we're tasked for as that team, and talk about like how to put that process together. And I see Deanna said that she's going to work more on the FAQs this weekend, so maybe we can ask her to keep us in the loop there as well, because since me and you kind of put those FAQs together, she may have questions and should be involved in that.
That sounds
Okay.
good to me. And the last little thing was just, is it okay if I contact the committee chairs to ask for a contribution by, I guess, maybe 2 weeks hence to give them space to work on drafting if they need to, or
Okay, here's the thing. I don't want to get off the rails on this particular topic. In my mind, Chuck just got appointed co-chair and they're all learning to work together. They've asked us to pause. They didn't ask us to pause indefinitely. They just asked us to hit pause. And one of the things Chuck wants to do is present this to the entire commission. He also wants to present the speaking engagement issue to the entire commission. That way, everybody gets a say. So I'm going to respect what they have requested. Again, they haven't requested a long time. It's a reasonable request, and we'll wait to see what they've got. I don't see a problem with you keeping and working on the FAQs. But I think probably one of the reasons, and I'm surmising because I don't know, but maybe one of the reasons that he wants us to pause on this too is, like Terry said at the beginning, everyone's in drafting committee. So like we are, well, I'm being recorded. We are up against the wall. I have to censor myself. We're up against the wall as far as July 7th. So once that's done, I think we'll have more bandwidth to be able to have a good discussion about it. And I don't know if the other chairs can create FAQs right now when they're busy working on the drafting. So if you want to talk to him offline, you certainly can. But again, it wasn't just from Chuck. It was from the whole E-team. So, okay. So the next thing was for me to, I could have sworn we just lost somebody. The next, I don't know what all those noises are. Okay, so the next thing was to go over just some of the basics of the Speakers Bureau. Chris, how are you on here twice? I think I did that last night.
weird. So whatever you said the last 30 seconds, I missed. Sorry.
I just said, let's hit pause. Let's give them a chance to catch their breath. And I got no problems with you continuing to work on the FAQs with everybody else. It's just from what I'm gleaming, I think that he probably wants to give the chairs a chance to catch their breath and get through drafting, which is the first priority. You know, I think, well, like I said, I think that's pretty reasonable. Now, the next thing that they were very concerned about was speaking, the speaking engagements. And that's why I was hoping Anthony could come, but it was also probably last minute. So he was going to ask that the intake form that I just showed you that's on the website, Chuck would like the whole E-team would like them to receive this. And Dorothy, this affects you and me because the way it was set up was that requests would go to Dorothy and I, and then we would manage it because it was part of our job for the Speakers Bureau in our section of the communication strategy. But things change. So I think what they want is for them to get the emails from the intake forms and then delegate who can speak at those events. Does that make sense?
I think it's probably more involved than it needs to be personally, but if that's what they want to do, totally fine, you know.
Yep.
I think that the opportunity should be given to, I mean, and I agree with Chris, but I think that if for some reason, I think all the commissioners should know about it that want to speak, and if for some reason and they go, oh yeah, you know, I've been a member of that group for 30 years. I've been working with, like, say, the Lions Club, and I want to, so I think that the opportunity should be made available to people. And I don't know. I guess that would be something that we need to kind of discuss with the e-board to maybe.
Well, that's the whole point is they want to have people qualified and they want to process. And so what I did was I went and researched what the guidelines are. Now, again, there is, just to be clear, there's no training that's available from the prosecuting attorney's office to train us about what we can say and what we can't. Chris Cook did send an email out after last week because Johnny asked her to in follow-up, and she hasn't responded to me. And I basically just said we need do's and don'ts. and some input about what people can say and what they can't. Because you don't, again, as electeds, you just got to be a little cautious. So what we
Can
came
you
up,
share that? Can you share her concerns with the rest of the communication team? Can you share the email that she
she
sent?
doesn't have any concerns. She was just
Oh, I
reaching
got-
out.
Oh, okay, okay.
Because, okay, so let me review. So Johnny was in this meeting last week, and one of the items that we had from last week, see, I think I've got it in these notes. One of the items that we had from last week was that Johnny was going to reach out to Chris Cook and find out if there were any, there it is, if there were any guidelines or anything like that. So the reason Chris Cook emailed me was to say, hey, Johnny said you need information on this. And so all I replied was, yes, please, do's and don'ts. That's that. So Speakers Bureau. So the guidelines so far, and again, I brought this up at our commission meeting. This is directional. It is not digital. We are looking at just having a process. So you got to attend and observe 3 of these presentations, whether it's town halls or community presentations. Read and agree to all the speakers' guidelines, information, and legal direction from Chris Cook. And again, I have some others too. Then do a teach back to the E-team, and then you should co-facilitate with another speaker. That's it. And so a few of the notes would be, you've got to obviously, a rising tide lifts all boats, so we help each other get certified. The speakers must co-facilitate, and there's legal reasons for that. Let's see, assignments given out by the E-team until a smooth process is established. Chuck did not say the E-team wants to assign everybody forever. He simply said for now, he wants to go through all of this, and the E-team wants to be the ones. And I know it's in the communication strategy that we handle that, but I'm just telling you what they would like to do is approve all the speakers. And they're not even saying who can speak where. They're just saying they want to approve all the speakers to make sure that everybody knows how to speak to a group and can follow the guidelines. Any speaking invitations that you receive should be entered into the submit speaker request intake form that I just showed you. That way we can all track it. We don't miss anything. Yeah, so speaking engagement requests go here. Invite a commissioner to speak at your org, and then they are listed on events once it's a done deal. Again, I need help with how the heck do you guys want to track all this? Do we have
Hey,
a
my
data?
question, I have a quick question before you go any further. Is this slide that I'm looking at here, is this what the e-board sent you that they are requesting?
No, this is what I presented originally as guidelines. They can rip it to shreds for all I care, but I mean, it's
Everything to be
something to
approved by-
start with.
Oh, okay, because I don't remember, I thought the whole being approved by E-team is new. Okay.
It is. I altered it today, but I
Oh,
did
okay.
say originally attend and observe 3 presentations, do a teach back, agree to that stuff. The difference is that the E-team wants to be able to decide if people are qualified and approve that. That's it. Okay. So I am going to send this to them. They already saw it once when I presented it originally. They just want to make sure that people know all the engagement rules and stuff. So
Is this
the-
something that we vote on as a committee, or are you just sending
you
it like?
remember when we had these guidelines about not interrupting? You are being naughty. Originally, we said that the training would come from the Speakers Bureau, and then we got Chris Cook to help. But I did find a few things working with the media, and I think you've all received that, and risk communication template. There's also something from the MRSC guidelines. I put the link in there. I also put it on that rough draft that I sent you guys. Again, it's a rough draft about how to create a Speakers Bureau and who to go to. So I realized that I sent that earlier today. So you have, since they asked us to pause, you actually have a week or two to review that and come back with any input that you've got. Because again, it was just draft. It's stuff that I came up with, and I don't have Chris Cook's input about the legal stuff. That's it. All right. So if everybody can go ahead and review that and then come back with any of your suggestions, that would be great. That is pretty much what I've got for tonight.
Maureen, can I ask you a quick question? You had mentioned that the form now needs to go to additional people. Do you want to just shoot me an email of who needs to receive the form, and I'll get that updated?
Thank you. Yep, just Chuck, Kim, and Anthony. But yep, I will do that.
And-
I will do that right after.
Johnny or I will try to touch base with Chris and prod her to respond to you.
Yep. Okay. So, okay. Do you have any suggestions while I've got you unmuted about how we can organize all these speaking events? So if we get somebody who needs to go talk to the Rotary on, August 1st, and we want people to sign up for that who have been approved, is there a good centralized way to do that on the website? Oh, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Do you mean how the different commissioners can sign up?
Yeah.
I
That might
mean,
not be.
the website is really more public facing, so there's not really probably a real convenient way to do that within clark.wa.gov, but
Yeah.
I might recommend that you set up a Google spreadsheet and just you can list the events and let people sign up. That way it's a shared document. And Johnny or I could probably help you set up a template for that if you needed it, for people to be able to kind of just register for whatever events were open and needing a speaker.
That's a good idea.
Keep an eye on that as well. And then as we see events, come on board, if you will, then we could populate it and help promote some of it from the homepage.
That's a good idea. You know what? Because what you just made me think of is Dorothy already set it up for community events, and we did send it out to all the commissioners to ask them to contribute. I haven't seen anybody contribute. Dorothy, what do you think about the idea of having either in addition to that, the speaking arrangements? Can we make that Google spreadsheet a way we can sign up as well as just look for all the community events coming up?
Yeah, I mean, if we have like specific events, then we can make sure we list out more detailed information, where it's at, what time it's at, how to get connected, and then have a column for speakers to sign up. I'm not sure. I mean, how many
Calendar.
actual active speakers we'll have anyways. It may just be us having to reach out and beg people to go speak in an event.
You have a calendar of events on the events page that I think Commissioner Vendetti sent to me, and I have kind of a listing of events that I can get more information on. Again, as you have different speaking engagements scheduled, we can kind of list those in most recent order so that those are providing people with a little bit more information.
That's brilliant. So
But that'd be
Dorothy,
more, facing to the public.
gotcha. So once we have people signed up for, let's say that we get somebody who, again, from the Rotary August 1st. So then we put it in Dorothy's spreadsheet, and let's say Fred and Ann are going to go and speak at that. Then we put Fred and Ann in. Then we go to you and say, please put this on events. And here's the commissioners who are speaking. That's brilliant.
Yep.
Dorothy, are you cool with that too? Do you think you can adjust that this week? Try it again. I'm sorry, you're still muted.
Sorry. We can just add a sheet on there that says event sign up. Do we have, I mean, as soon as we get events, we can just start adding them.
He said, and I apologize that I sent this out late. That's my bad. But he did say there's a one for Fairway. What's that retirement community on 164th Fairway Village?
Fairway Village, yeah.
Yeah, that's the first one. So maybe we can test it out with that. God, Maureen, how about spelling? Okay. You want to try it out with that? And then at the next commission meeting where we actually aren't choosing mic replacements or dealing with draft language, we can sign that up.
And I'm not gone on vacation, so.
Or me. Or me. So speaking of which, the last thing I have is Dorothy's on vacation next week. I am on vacation next week. We are not going to meet. You get to have a nice long weekend. So anything else with the 10 minutes we got left?
Yeah, quick, just clarification. So with it sounded like the FAQ on hold and also any of the social media postings. So for now, we're still just parroting what's on the county page, or are we waiting on something else before we can start using the Facebook?
I didn't hear anything about social media.
Okay.
All I heard was
Where
him
are we
ask.
then?
Yeah, I think that's fine. I
Okay.
know the guidelines, he's got those too, and I'm not sure Christiana's gone, but she reviewed them too. So I didn't hear anything about not doing Facebook pages and Facebook posts. I just heard the FAQ part.
Okay, so let's just go ahead. Sound okay?
With Facebook?
It's not
Oh
gonna be
yeah, knock
crazy or
yourself
anything,
out.
but like just so this, keep it alive a little bit and sharing stuff like about updates and all that. Okay.
Yep, I have no issue with that. Okay. That's all I got. Dorothy, you got to quit monopolizing the conversation. What do you have to say?
I got nothing. I'm going on vacation. I need it.
You and me both, sister. I hope you don't get the smoke and the heat, but I hear at the beach it's going to be 30 degrees cooler, so.
Well,
It's gonna be high 70s, low 80s in Big Sur. So I'm gonna be
Oh,
nice
that's
and
right, you're going to
cozy.
Big Sur. Chris, you can come house sit for me and enjoy the central air.
yeah, tempting. Enjoy your vacations, you two.
Thanks, and we will come back. We will see you guys Wednesday, and we will meet as a communications committee next time on July 8th after the 4th of July. All right, guys, you know how you can get a hold of me. If anything else is going on, I will do it by email. Thank you very much. Look at us, we got done early. Have a good one, everybody. Thanks.